Hello everybody, my name is Allie, and normally on this channel I make long-form LPS skits, short unboxings, and some skits on YouTube Shorts. However, I have sprinkled in a couple videos pertaining to drawing and art. So, one thing you might not know about me, or maybe it is obvious, is I like the Amazing Digital Circus. It is an indie animated series created by Gooseworks and produced by Glitch Productions. Quick synopsis of the series, provided by the playlist on the Glitch Productions YouTube channel. The Amazing Digital Circus is a psychological dark comedy about cute cartoon characters who hate their lives and want to leave. Is this the best description in the world? Probably not. Is it the best we're gonna get? Yeah, because I suck at explaining things. Oh, I guess now is kind of a good time to bring up, this series is not made for kids. Do kids still watch this series? Yeah, probably. So, just to stay borderline PG or whatever the heck I rate my videos, I'm gonna keep things, stay away from the darker elements of this series. So, why am I talking about TADC, and what does that have to do with anything? Well, I love LPS customs. There's such a great community of LPS customizers out there that makes such great customs. To the point where I made a whole Pinterest board, which you're about to see right now. Look at it. It's like 223 pins or something like that. Oh my gosh. So, one of my favorite LPS creators is LPS Emily. In the past, she's made a lot of LPS skits, but nowadays she makes a lot of LPS customizing videos, which I really enjoy. One of her most recent videos was an art doll customization of Jax from the Amazing Digital Circus. And in the video, the custom is very similar to the original Jax, but there's nothing wrong with that. The custom turned out amazing. I have seen quite a few Digital Circus customs be made, however, I've only seen, specific characters. So today, I am going to be designing an LPS for most of the Amazing Digital Circus characters. Oh boy, this is going to be a long video. So, real quick, I just want to explain what exactly I'm doing. Pretty much, I just traced over some of the LPS molds to get the general shape, and then I went in and added the details, essentially. So, I tried to keep these very simple, minimal, no sculpting, mainly because I'm not that good at customizing LPS, and I don't have any good clay, and excuses. So, we're starting off with the main character, Pomni. I decided to use a fox because the foxes already have bangs, so I wouldn't have to worry about sculpting hair. And I'm gonna be honest, I kind of hate this first sketch. The base I used, I took a picture of an LPS wearing a hat, which you just saw, and it didn't turn out. I will redraw this at the end of the video, but enough about the custom. Let's talk about Pomni. Pomni is the main character of the Amazing Digital Circus, and kind of the main character we follow and see how she handles this crazy, wacky world. There's not really much to say about her in the first episode since she spends the whole time panicking. However, episode 2, she's so sympathetic with Gummy Goo, and that is really just something I really like about Pomni. She just finds a way to connect with everyone in the circus. And I think that's something really nice about her character. Oh, I guess now is probably the best time to say, spoilers for the Amazing Digital Circus. I mean, what'd you think? This was gonna be spoiler-free. But yeah, she's such a great character. She does such a great job of, comforting people. She does a good job of comforting Gangle in episode 4. She really got close with Jax in episodes 5 and 6. I just hate that Jax went and messed everything up in episode 6, but whatever. I also love her relationship with Kinger. I love their, father-daughter relationship. But we'll talk about Kinger in a minute. And with that, that's the final piece. We'll come back to it in a minute. Jax, one of the most controversial characters in my opinion. I mean, you either love him or you hate him, but we'll talk about him in a minute. Let's start off with the base. This is one of the few that I drew multiple concepts for. As you can see, I really stuck with this one bunny head mold, and I pretty much just used like a bunch of combinations of bunny molds. And then I'll just go in and add Jack's colors, because there's not really much I can do. So let's talk about Jax. I personally really like Jax. He's kind of my favorite character, or at least one of my favorite characters. I feel like I can say that, but I also feel like I can't, because, like, the biggest reason why I feel like I can't say he's my favorite character is because he's such a jerk in so many episodes. He bullies Gangle, he just is overall a jerk. But weirdly enough, I like the jerky, narcissistic characters. I like Daffy Duck from the Looney Tunes show. I like Garfield, which I know it's not fair to compare Jax to Garfield, but like, I mean, both are... I know Jax isn't really a narcissist, but I like the narcissistic, unapologetically mean characters. However, I think I like Jax more because he actually does have a reason. We see the reason unfold within the last 3 episodes. Like, we see that he has a relationship with Ribbit and Kathmo, but he doesn't want to admit it because he is... What's the word I'm looking for?
He's a man, and men don't show feelings, like, 'cause I can't be vulnerable.
Like, in episode 5, he literally states that his design is peak masculinity, whatever that means. But yeah, I like Jax. I feel bad for him in episode 7, like, he almost abstracted, like, dude, that's crazy. I just want to give him a hug, like, oh my gosh, like, and then I know he's abstracting again, but he has, like, a panic attack towards the end of the episode, and it's just like, oh my gosh. I think another reason why I like Jax is because I like his voice actor. I like the sound of Michael Kovacs' voice. I know that sounds weird, but I like the sound of his voice. I just like the sound of his voice. I've seen a lot of videos saying, like, Michael Kovac deserves, like, an award for his voice acting in episode 7, and, like, I mean, I agree! Jumping back to the designs before we end, I pretty much just used the baby bunny mold, the Lop mold, that one creepy bunny mold. I held off on doing it, but I did it. And then I did, like, a couple head swaps with the bunny and the standing panda, but yeah, those are the Jax designs. Let's move on to Ragatha. Moving on to Ragatha, another controversial character, but we'll get to that in a second. So, for Ragatha, I chose a goat base, and you might be wondering why I chose that. Well, there's a couple reasons. One, in her backstory, she's like a farm girl, and what's on farms? Goats. Boom. Also, I tried to, like, limit what molds I could do for the main reason of accessibility. I have a goat base on me, so I really just wanted to limit myself on, like, what molds I can get my hands on, or, like, what I already have on hand, and I just so happen to have a goat base on my hand, so I just decided to make Ragatha a goat. Now, let's talk about Ragatha. I know I said she was a controversial character, but I feel like that was only in, like, episode 5. Because episode 5 was Ragatha's episode. We learned a lot more about her, and we also saw her have her crash out with Jax. And that just sparked a lot of discourse, I feel like. If it didn't, I must be reading this wrong. But I saw this meme. I don't remember where I saw it. I'll insert it right here. But I saw this back whenever the episode came out, and that's kind of why I think there was a little bit of discourse about Ragatha. I don't think it's that bad now, because her and Pomni made up in episode 6. I don't know if that's what really happened. That's what it kind of felt like happened. But anyway, the biggest reason why Ragatha lost her cool is because she wants to be liked by everyone, especially Pomni. And she felt like she was losing Pomni because she was being friends with Jax, and Ragatha hates Jax, and it's very apparent throughout the series that those two hate each other. But I think after Ragatha and Kinger's talk in episode 6, it made her feel better, and by the end of episode 6, I feel like Ragatha and Pomni were on good terms, so that's good. As for my opinion on Ragatha, I like her. I think I also fell into the boat of, like, Ragatha's gonna crash out and show her real colors soon because of, like, what happened in episode 4. But honestly, I like Ragatha. She reminds me of myself way too much. Like, it's very bad. But anyway, I truly do like Ragatha. And as for the custom, I gave her one of Ragatha's button eyes. I wanted to give her, like, a little skirt like Ragatha has, and I felt like there was something missing, so I added, little something around her arms. I don't know what it is. I added her bow, and I added some, like, little details on her ears, and yeah, I eventually changed her fur tone. I don't know. I might go back and change it again. I don't know. I can't get the fur tone right. But yeah, that's Ragatha. Let's move on. Okay, so we need to get this out of the way. No, I don't know why. I don't know why in my brain I was like, let's use the new Quokka mold for Kinger. I don't know why. I came to my senses and, like, decided to do bugs because Kinger has a bug motif, and so I chose a bumblebee and a butterfly, and yes, I did trace over official art. Like, don't come after me, it's whatever. But anyway, let's talk about Kinger. In the first couple of episodes, he just comes off as a crazy pants. However, in episode 3, which is probably not one of the most popular episodes of the 7 that are out right now, I feel like the saving grace of this episode is the heart-to-heart Kinger and Pomni have at the end. That's, like, the saving grace for the episode, in my opinion. I say that like the episode's bad. It's not my cup of tea, but that is, like, the one reason why I would watch it, is just to see, like, the heart-to-heart between Kinger and Pomni. And Kinger's also a very interesting character, because people bring up a lot that Kinger created the circus. Him and his wife were a part of creating the circus, and it was kind of revealed that in episode 7. But I don't know what to believe in episode 7, because it turned out everything was a lie. And the whole thing was just an adventure. And I feel like in that episode, Kinger wasn't, like, really... What's the word I'm looking for? It didn't really feel like 3 or 6, where it's, like, Kinger being wise and giving advice. It was more or less, like... I don't know, it was just Kinger, like, back in episode 4 or 5, where he's just the goofy, wacky character. However, he does, like, do a lore drop at the end of, like, who the first abstraction was, which was Scratch, who everyone is saying is this yellow dog, and that's also why Abel had, like, a locket that had a hot dog in it. Did anyone else, when they saw that, thought, like, oh, there's just a hot dog in the locket, that's nothing? Well, apparently it is something, because it's always something! Anyway, I feel like Kinger's such an underrated character, or at least, like, I don't like him as much as I should. Like, I do like him. Every now and then I'll be reminded, like, oh my gosh, Kinger's so great, but I feel like with the amount of, like, goofy moments he has, as opposed to, like, the wise fatherly moments he has, like, I don't know. I still like Kinger, don't get me wrong. At the end of the day, I love Kinger. But, yeah. Ignore whatever was just, ignore what was at the bottom of the screen, that's not important. But yeah, that's the Kinger designs. Here's a fun character right here, Zooble. Just a mishmash of different parts. Anyway, so here are the amount of time I spent just setting this up is ridiculous. But I came up with a few different molds I wanted to use. I wanted to use the pangolin, and you'll see eventually the platypus, and I also went back and, like, put in the quokka because I don't know why. But I went for, like, obscure animals that you wouldn't really think about, because Zooble's pretty obscure. That's why I chose, like, the platypus in the first place, because, like, it's, like, got a duck bill but a beaver tail and otter-like features. So, what about Zooble? Zooble's a weird character. I will be honest, I like Zooble more now than I did at the beginning of the series. Because let's be honest, I didn't like Zooble at the beginning of the series. They just weren't in any episodes in the first two, and like, they were just so rude, and I just wasn't vibing with Zooble in the first couple of episodes. Like, I know episode 3 was pretty much Zooble's episode, but even then, it wasn't till episode 4 that I was really starting to vibe with Zooble, because they were just so nice to Gangle and so comforting. I ship Abstragedy. Like, if any of the ships are gonna be canon, it's gonna be Abstragedy. I'm just saying. They have such good chemistry. I really love those two. Yeah. I don't really know what else to say about Zooble. Their design changes every single episode. Like, they still have the triangle head and the same, like, spotted body, but, like, all their, like, limbs and little antenna change. I tried to keep things consistent, mainly based off the first design. I gave the, Kawaka and the platypus stripy hair. I had so much fun designing the Zooble one. And as you can see, I originally gave the pangolin, like, the black and white on the scales. I changed that in a little bit. But I had a lot of fun designing all of these. I feel like the last couple I had were really fun. I just really enjoyed doing Zoobles, like, a lot. I want to pause and take a second to point out, whoever made this meme of, like, this Bob's Burgers meme of dude holding the pangolin, I love you. That's the funniest thing ever. That's why I kept this on the thing the whole time. I just thought that was so funny. But anyway, that is Zooble. And let's move on to their better half. Gangle. Sweet, sweet lass. This anime-obsessed, whatever she is, who can't keep her happy mask. So, for Gangle, I chose to do a ferret. Why did I choose to do a ferret? I don't know, it just made sense at the time. And I stand by that. I still think that makes sense for her. So let's talk about Gangle for a second. There's not really much to Gangle, I feel like. Every episode, her happy mask breaks at some point. Or does her calming mask, whatever. It breaks at some point during the episode, and she's just sad for the rest. There's really nothing much to her in the first few episodes, especially episode 3. Like, I feel like the only characters that get to shine in episode 3 are, like, Pomni, Kinger, and Zooble. Maybe Kane, I don't know. That's not the point. Episode 4 is really Gangle's episode, and when it came out, I really liked that episode. I think Gangle's really great in that episode. We do also learn about Gangle's past, which we do later also learn more about in episode 5. But in episode 5, we kind of just touch on everyone's in a way, I guess. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to say about Gangle, but I also don't know what to say about Gangle. I was originally, when designing this, going to include, like, a happy mask and a sad mask, and then I decided not to. I can't tell you why, I just decided not to. Because I feel like she has this face a lot now, where it's just her face. Like, her face these days is just the tragedy mask, if you know what I'm saying. I don't remember if I said this in Zooble, when I was talking about Zooble, but I feel like if any ship is to be canon, it's Abstragedy. They just have such good chemistry, especially in episode 7, where, like, Gangle's like, will you still remember me when you leave the circus? Like, they're canon. Just admit it. If no other ship is going to be canon, if Funny Bunny isn't ship, if Funny Gummy isn't ship, is Bunny Doll, if like no other ship is canon, this is going to be canon. I'm just saying. Just adding her color swatches, it's literally just reds. I mean, there are other colors, but mainly it's red. And she's done! There's Gangle. Let's move on. and the ringmaster himself, Kane. I chose to do a standing panda for this one because it's kind of become the new LPS mascot. The mascot for LPS is just a panda. It's a new panda for each wave, and in a way, I guess you could say Kane's the mascot. I don't know. It makes sense, okay? Just trust. It makes sense. When it comes to Kane, the biggest question with him is Kane evil? I don't know. I can't wrap my head around if Kane is evil. He traps them in the circus, I think. And he's only like this because he just wants to be loved. That's all there is to it. Kane just wants to be loved. And it's kind of hard when you have characters like Zooble who don't want to engage in Kane's adventures and whatnot. And I remember, back before episode 7 came, watching a specific YouTuber talk about how, like, Kane could abstract, and bringing up what Kinger said in episode 3. The worst thing you could do to someone is make them feel unloved, which I personally believe is really true. That's a horrible thing you could do to someone. And I do feel like Kane doesn't feel loved. However, I feel like Kane doesn't want to be bad intentionally, but I fear we're gonna get to a point where Kane's gonna be like, if I can't be happy, no one can be happy, or like something like that. Amazing Digital Circus is based off of the book called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. That's pretty much the reference and source material for Amazing Digital Circus. And I personally have never read this book, but I'm pretty sure Kane is supposed to mirror Am, who is also a AI or robot of some sort in this book. They made a movie about it, which I will get to something random about this movie. From what I have heard of the plot of this movie, I do fear the direction a Digital Circus will take, because I feel like someone is going to die at the end. I don't know who. I fear it will be Jax. I also fear it will be Kinger, because I watched a random short. Who knows? Kinger could make the ultimate sacrifice. I don't know. We've seen Jax almost abstract. Who knows? So, you guys remember Daisy Bell from episode 6? Well, they made a movie of this book, and in the movie, it shows, for the sake of staying on YouTube's good side, if you know, you know. Next, we have a random assortment of characters. Some of these are very important to the plot. Some of these are just like my personal favorite, Gummy Goo. So I will talk about them to the best of my ability. Let's start with Ribbit because she has so much hype behind her. Random question, did anyone else think Ribbit was a boy, or was that just my dumb butt? It was just probably me. I don't know. So you're probably wondering why I chose an iguana for Ribbit when she's clearly a frog. Point blank, frog LPS are boring, / they have not made a G7 frog. I'm not saying frogs are boring, I'm just saying the frog LPS they're frogs, but iguanas are cool. I don't know. So Ribbit really hasn't done much in this series, but she is sort of a plot device. No, she's not a plot device. But she and Kaufmo play a big part in Jax's story. Let's talk about Kaufmo for a brief second. Kaufmo is this silly little clown who I chose to do an axolotl because the LPS axolotls are bald, let's just be honest here. But Kaufmo was in the first episode, albeit abstracted. This was when we were introduced to abstraction. We really don't know that much about Kaufmo and Ribbit. We just know, like, as of episode 7, they were really good friends with Jax. And that's about all we know about them. We know the voice actor for Ribbit. No, I don't remember her name. But we know something. I don't know. We'll probably learn about them later down the road, but there's not much I can tell you. Gummy Goo, I love Gummy Goo so much. I want him to be in the show more. I mean, if he doesn't appear any more times, I get it. At least we had episodes 2 and 4. I love Gummy Goo. I ship Gummy, Funny Gummy, but I also ship Funny Bunny. I'm weird. I love his voice actor. I don't know who his voice actor is, but he does a good performance with Gummy Goo. I loved him in episode 2. I loved him in episode 4. I just hate that he didn't remember Pommy. That sucked so horribly. But anyway, there have been a lot of theories about Ribbit, and some say she might be overhyped. I don't know, but those are these 3 little guys. Yay. Okay, here is the better sketch of the Pomni Fox. Since I talked more about Pomni the first time, I will talk about the sketch, and I'm sorry it looks so crummy, the footage does, but this was the best I could do. The original design was truly just me trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I pretty much threw on Pomni's colors and onto the fox base and gave her a couple Pomni-themed accessories. Also question, do you want me to do the Pomni eyes or the LPS eyes? Because I drew both and I don't know which one I want to do. And yeah, that's all I can think of to say. Let's do the grand reveal. Reveal time! Wow-wee! And here are my TADC LPS custom designs. Ugh, I love them so much. I had so much fun making this. If you guys want to see me do more stuff like this, or in general just drawing stuff like this, please let me know. Please like the video. I would like to know if you would like to see more stuff like this. I had so much fun doing these designs. Editing the video is a different story. Doing this to make the thumbnail is a different story. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and I would love to do more art stuff on this channel in the future. So please give this video a like, maybe subscribe. I don't want to tag all this stuff in here, but if you did enjoy, please let me know, and I will make more stuff like this. And with that, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed watching, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.